You've probably jumped back from a snakeskin on a hiking trail, maybe even felt a little sick. But here's the embarrassing part. You shed skin too. Right now, while you're reading this, your body is quietly losing around 30,000 dead skin cells every single hour. That's roughly the weight of a paperclip every day, just flaking off into the air around you. You don't notice it. Nobody does. But a snake? A snake makes the whole thing one dramatic, perfect, unforgettable event. So why does snake shedding happen? Why does the whole thing come off in one piece, including the covers over its eyes? Why do snakes go blind before it happens? And why do some of them eat the old skin when it's done? This isn't a gross biology lesson. It's the story of one of nature's most underrated upgrades. Most people picture shedding like a snake bursting out of a tight shirt it's outgrown, like it just got too big, and the skin finally gave up. But that's only part of it. Snakes don't shed just because they grew. They shed because their outer skin wears out. It gets scratched, damaged, and infested with tiny parasites over time. And unlike your skin, which repairs itself bit by bit, a snake's outer layer can't patch itself. So the whole thing has to go. Think of it less like outgrowing your shoes and more like replacing a phone screen that's too cracked to see through. The fix isn't a patch, it's a full swap. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. The shedding doesn't start from the outside in. It starts from the inside out. Weeks before you ever see a snake shed, its body is already building a brand new layer of skin underneath the old one. Once that new layer is ready, the body releases a thin fluid, almost like a lubricant, between the old skin and the new one. That fluid separates the two layers the way water separates a sticker from its backing. Slowly, the old skin loosens. And then the snake does something that sounds like it shouldn't work. It starts rubbing its face on rough rocks or bark to break the edge free around its mouth. Then it crawls forward. The old skin peels back over its body and turns completely inside out. Like pulling a sock off your foot, except the sock is your entire body. One continuous tube, perfect and hollow. Every scale, every curve, even the eye covers. This is the part everyone misses. Snakes don't have eyelids. Instead, they have clear scale covers called spectacles that sit directly over each eye, and those shed too as part of the same skin. About a week before shedding, those covers fill with that same separating fluid and go cloudy, milky blue. The snake can barely see. It's essentially blind for several days right in the middle of the process. Therefore, a pre-shed snake is usually defensive, sometimes aggressive, not because it's mean, but because it genuinely can't see what's coming at it. If you've ever been told don't handle your snake when its eyes go blue, now you know exactly why. Now you might be thinking, don't other reptiles do the same thing? Lizards shed too. But the difference is huge. Lizards lose their skin in patchy, flaky chunks. A piece off the back, a strip from the leg, it looks messy and random because lizard scales are more separate from each other, like individual tiles. Snake scales are all connected in one flexible sheet that runs the full length of the body, which is why snakes can peel off in one clean ghost tube and lizards can't. A clean one-piece shed on a snake is actually a health signal. It means the snake is well hydrated, well fed, and not stressed. A patchy, broken shed? That's the snake's body telling you something is wrong. Compare it to looking at someone's nails, healthy person, healthy shed, healthy snake. And what about insects? Crabs. They go through something called molting, where they shed a hard outer shell called an exoskeleton. But after molting, those animals are completely soft and defenseless for hours, sometimes days. A freshly molted crab is basically a bag of meat with no armor. A snake after shedding? It crawls out of that old skin fully protected, brighter in color, and immediately ready to hunt. Shedding is an upgrade. Molting is a vulnerability, not the same thing at all. Here's the part that makes this so much bigger than just a snake thing. Thousands of years ago, people all over the world watched snakes do this and came to the same conclusion. This creature must have the secret to eternal life. Ancient Egyptians saw it, Greeks saw it, Romans saw it. A dull, dead-looking shell left behind, and from it, a gleaming, bright-colored animal walking away like nothing happened. That looked like resurrection. It looked like cheating death. So they made the snake a symbol of healing. The rod of Asclepius, one snake wrapped around one staff, became the symbol of medicine in ancient Greece. It's still used today on ambulances, hospital signs, and medical organizations around the world, including the World Health Organization. Every time you pass an ambulance, you're seeing a symbol that was born from someone watching a snake crawl out of its own skin and thinking it had just come back from the dead. And that's not the only place this hides. The symbol shows up on pharmacy signs in dozens of countries. The caduceus, two snakes wrapped around a winged staff, gets used for medicine constantly in the United States, especially in military medical logos, even though it was originally the symbol of Hermes, the god of trade and thieves. Historians still argue about how that mix-up happened. So the Ouroboros, the image of a snake eating its own tail, is a symbol of endless cycles and renewal that goes back to ancient Egypt, and today it shows up in tech company logos, jewelry, and tattoo studios worldwide. Every self-help book that talks about shedding your old self or leaving the past behind is borrowing language from this exact biological event. Anti-aging skin creams market themselves with words like cell renewal and skin regeneration, which is just snake shedding logic, repackaged in a nice bottle. Some cultures in Asia and Africa have used shed snake skins in traditional medicine for centuries, believing they carry healing properties. And in the pet trade, shed skins from large pythons and boas are sometimes made into guitar picks and small accessories. Yes, really. But here's where it gets crazy. A young, fast-growing snake can shed every 3 to 4 weeks. That's like getting a brand new body almost once a month. An adult ball python sheds around 4 to 6 times a year, even when it's fully grown, not because it's still getting bigger, but because the skin still wears out and needs replacing. Shedding never stops. It's lifelong maintenance, and compared to how humans deal with skin, it's actually kind of efficient. You lose cells in a constant, invisible, uncontrolled mess every single day. The snake waits, builds the replacement fully, then does the whole job in one clean move. No flaking. No patches, just done. That said, shedding can go wrong. The problem is called a stuck shed, or in technical terms, disectasis, that's disectasis, which means a bad shed. It happens when the air is too dry, the snake is sick, dehydrated, or under stress. If the old skin sticks instead of peeling, it can trap itself around the eyes, blocking vision permanently. It can wrap around the tail tip and cut off circulation. The tail can actually die and fall off. This is why people who keep pet snakes track humidity levels obsessively. A perfect shed isn't just satisfying to look at, it's proof the animal is healthy. Wild snakes handle this by finding humid dens, soaking in shallow water, and rubbing against wet rocks when the time comes. They've been solving this problem since long before humans were around to watch. Shedding is a full-body replacement, a health signal, a parasite reset, and a biological system so elegant that ancient humans built entire religions around it. The snake doesn't shed because something went wrong. It sheds because everything is working exactly right.